The disappearance of Saddam Hussein following the 2003 U.S. invasion of Iraq sparked what would become one of the most perplexing manhunts in military history. For 8 agonizing months, the full might of the United States military and intelligence apparatus, with all its satellite surveillance, electronic eavesdropping capabilities, and boots on the ground, failed to locate a single aging dictator in his own country. This wasn't merely an embarrassing oversight. It was a case study in how cultural misunderstanding, technological over-reliance, and one man's meticulous preparation could combine to frustrate even the world's sole superpower. The story of why it took so long to find Saddam reveals fundamental truths about modern warfare and the limits of military power. Saddam's ability to vanish wasn't accidental. It was the result of years of careful planning and survival preparation. Unlike other deposed dictators who were quickly captured, Saddam had studied history and learned from their mistakes. He established an elaborate network of more than 24 secure safe houses throughout his tribal territories near Tikrit, each equipped with ingeniously concealed underground bunkers. These spider holes, named for their resemblance to trapdoor spider burrows, were engineering marvels. Some featured ventilation systems, emergency food and water supplies, and even narrow escape tunnels connecting multiple locations. Saddam personally oversaw the training of a select group of about 24 bodyguards drawn exclusively from his Al-Bu Nasir tribe, men whose families had served him for generations and who understood the grave consequences of betrayal. The U.S. military's initial approach to finding Saddam was fundamentally flawed from the outset. The much-publicized deck of cards program, which identified 55 most wanted Iraqis with Saddam as the ace of spades, focused attention on high-profile regime officials rather than Saddam's actual support network. While American forces were busy rounding up government ministers in Baghdad, Saddam was being protected by a shadow network of tribal bodyguards whose names appeared on no wanted lists. These men operated through an intricate system of nonverbal signals and predetermined meeting points, completely avoiding electronic communications that could be intercepted. It wasn't until mid-2003, when most of the deck of cards targets had been captured without yielding any leads on Saddam's whereabouts, that U.S. strategists realized their critical miscalculation. Cultural factors the Americans failed to appreciate played a decisive role in Saddam's ability to remain hidden. In the tribal areas surrounding Tikrit, centuries-old codes of honor and loyalty proved far stronger than any fear of American forces or desire for reward money. Even when the bounty for Saddam's capture reached $30 million, a life-changing sum in rural Iraq, most locals viewed betraying their tribal leader as unthinkable. Coalition forces encountered what operatives called a human firewall, where entire villages would provide carefully crafted misinformation to collect reward payments while actively protecting Saddam's actual location. Some particularly clever informants developed sophisticated schemes where they would offer just enough credible-sounding information to receive partial payments while deliberately sending search teams in the wrong direction. Saddam's physical transformation was nothing short of remarkable and contributed significantly to his ability to move undetected. The once impeccably groomed dictator, known for his tailored suits and military uniforms, grew a long, unkempt beard and adopted the dress and mannerisms of a simple Bedouin shepherd. He reportedly spent months practicing menial farming tasks until he could perform them convincingly, studying the speech patterns and behaviors of rural Iraqis to perfect his disguise. Declassified military reports confirmed that U.S. patrols actually stopped and questioned Saddam at checkpoints on several occasions but failed to recognize him in his peasant disguise. His bodyguards had prepared an elaborate backstory, presenting him as an elderly relative visiting from another village, and Saddam carried no identification that might reveal his true identity. The American military's heavy reliance on technology turned out to be a significant disadvantage in the search. While the U.S. possessed the world's most advanced surveillance systems, including satellites that could read license plates from space and listening devices that could intercept whisper-quiet conversations, Saddam operated completely off the grid. He banned all electronic communications among his protectors, relying instead on handwritten notes delivered by trusted couriers and face-to-face meetings conducted under strict security protocols. This low-tech approach rendered billions of dollars worth of surveillance equipment practically useless, forcing intelligence analysts to fall back on traditional investigative methods they had largely abandoned. As summer turned to fall in 2003 with no solid leads, frustration among U.S. commanders reached boiling point. Some senior officials began seriously considering the possibility that Saddam might have died or escaped Iraq entirely. The turning point came when investigators dramatically shifted their strategy. Instead of focusing on high-ranking regime officials, they began targeting Saddam's personal support network. This new approach led them to Mohammed Ibrahim Omar al-Muslit, a relatively obscure bodyguard responsible for Saddam's food supplies who represented the weakest link in the dictator's security chain. The critical breakthrough came from an unexpected and almost trivial detail: Saddam's well-documented fondness for mesgouf, a traditional Iraqi dish of seasoned and grilled carp. During interrogations, al-Muslit's extensive knowledge of Saddam's eating habits stood out to investigators. This culinary clue led troops to a specific fish farm near Tikrit that was supplying Saddam's hideouts, demonstrating how cultural and anthropological knowledge could succeed where advanced surveillance technology had failed. The fish farm connection ultimately unraveled Saddam's entire support network, providing the first genuine leads about his possible whereabouts after 8 months of searching. Operation Red Dawn, launched on December 13, 2003, marked the dramatic culmination of the manhunt. Acting on intelligence gathered from al-Muslit and other captured bodyguards, soldiers from the 1st Brigade Combat Team, 4th Infantry Division conducted simultaneous raids on 2 suspected hideouts near the small farming community of Ad-Dar. The first location yielded nothing, but at the secondary site, a modest walled compound near the Tigris River, troops noticed several suspicious signs: freshly disturbed earth, a makeshift ventilation pipe protruding slightly from the ground, and a rope leading into the soil beneath a small mud hut. When they removed the covering, they discovered a meticulously camouflaged spider hole containing a disheveled Saddam Hussein, who surrendered without resistance. The 8-month delay in capturing Saddam had serious strategic consequences that extended far beyond the manhunt itself. The prolonged period between the fall of Baghdad and Saddam's capture provided insurgent groups with critical time to organize, contributing directly to the violent resistance that would plague Iraq for years to come, proving that even in the digital age, human behavior remains warfare's most unpredictable variable, and that sometimes the oldest investigative methods yield the best results against even the most elusive targets.